citizens of the Nigelverse. It's Nige here once again, and welcome back to System Shock Radio. I got some talks for you guys, and we have a bunch here, because there's a lot of stuff to talk about, as a lot of stuff happened this week. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. So, starting with the first topic, is that we have a 7th member in the Money in the Bank ladder match, at least the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. It's Logan Paul, who made his return on Raw and announced that he's going to be in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. First of all, what is with WWE and last-minute additions to Money in the Bank ladder matches? At least they didn't have it the day of, like last year when Austin Theory got added. But also, pretty interesting, Logan Paul being involved in the match. Of course, Logan Paul has been impressive thus far in the ring, and him being in the Money in the Bank ladder match, no doubt gonna help elevate it and have a couple really cool, interesting spots. Is Logan Paul. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of excited, as kind of out of left field as it is. Well, actually, it's not really that out of left field. Some people actually did kind of see it coming. They called it, be like, oh, Logan Paul's going to be added to the match, isn't he? Plus, there's the potential of Drew McIntyre potentially being added to the match, as it's in the UK, of course, versus his Money in the Bank this year, and Drew McIntyre, who has been on TV in a little while, may return, is heavily rumored to potentially be returning at Money in the Bank, and it would make sense. But yeah, for now, Logan Paul's been added to the match, and it's gonna be a solid Money in the Bank match. And the thing about this match that people have pointed out is that none of these people have won the Money in the Bank contract yet, so it's gonna be a first time and winner. So the official participants for the men's, and at least at the time of recording, is Santos Escobar, the aforementioned Logan Paul, of course, LA Knight, who's pretty much everyone's favorite to win the match, Ricochet, Shinsuke Nakamura, Pete Dunne, and Damian Priest. As for who's going to win, and I really want LA Knight to win, and a lot of people want LA Knight to win, but he might not win. And some people have said Logan Paul being added was so that LA Knight doesn't win in the match. And apparently some stuff had to be changed because of how over LA Knight is, and because of how badly people want him to win the match. It's almost like he should win the match. Whether or not LA Knight will necessarily win the title remains to be seen. But him winning the match, I think, is the popular choice, and it'd be awesome for LA Knight to finally get a push. And apparently they want to push him and everything, and hopefully he does get the push. But next thing we have to talk about is the return of two pay-per-views that we haven't seen in a while, or premium live events in WWE, and that's both Payback and Fastlane. Payback's returning in September, and Fastlane's returning in October. Both have been kind of gone for the past couple years. Payback, the last one was in 2020, which, fun fact, that's where Roman Reigns won the Universal Championship. And then Fastlane, that's going to be returning in October. And Fastlane hasn't been around since 2021, if I'm not mistaken. But they're going to be making their comebacks. Payback is going to be occurring over Labor Day weekend, and then Fastlane is going to be happening in October. So interesting that they're being brought back. I wonder what they'll do and what the landscape of WWE will be like by the time we get there. But the next thing I want to talk about, let's shift over from WWE to AEW, as we often do here on the channel and here on System Shock Radio. As I present my official AEW / New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door 2023 predictions. Now, I'll be honest, I'm interested and kind of excited. For starters, a lot of matches were added, this week and everything, and some on Dynamite and stuff like that, and a lot of the matches I'm excited for. Some a bit hit out of nowhere, but others I'm pretty excited to see. And I'm gonna be giving my predictions as to who's gonna win. Now, I'll admit I'm not really that familiar with a lot of the New Japan talents, which I've mentioned before on the channel, but still, I've heard some good things about most, of not all, these talents, so I'm excited. But and obviously, the order I'm going to read them off here on the wiki is not the official order or on the show. Like, this isn't the order it's going to go down on the show and everything. We'll have to wait till the show itself to see which match starts off. Well, we kind of know which match starts off because we do have a pre-show match, but we'll have to wait till we get to the show to see which match starts off and then which match main events. But without further ado, starting with the pre-show, as Athena will battle Billy Starks in the first round of the Owen Hart Cup tournament, and this one could go either way. Hey, admittedly, not too familiar with Billy Starks. Athena, of course, the former Ember Moon. So this one could go either way, but I probably will lean towards Athena for this one. But next up, as we get into the show proper, is Kenny Omega defending the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship against Will Ospreay, and this one could also go either way. Hey, I imagine, and he'll likely go to Will Ospreay to take it with him to New Japan, but this one could go either way, but this one is going to be pretty solid, I can tell. Admittedly, like I said, not too familiar with Will Ospreay, but I've heard some really good stuff from him. And then next up is Bryan Danielson versus Kazuchika Okada in a singles match. And of course, the first two matches announced for Forbidden Door before all the other matches were added as well. But this one, again, and like a lot of these matches, could go either way. Hey, I am leaning a bit towards Okada, so that Danielson can kind of get his comeuppance. Hence, Danielson's been kind of calling out Okada, and Okada even confronted him on this week's Dynamite. Hey, so Danielson probably could take the L against Okada, give him his comeuppance and everything. But again, this one could go either way. But this one I am interested in. But next up for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, Sonata will be defending against Jungle Boy, and Sonata's probably not dropping the IWGP Championship to Jungle Boy. A bit of an exchange between the two. Sonata saying he's not really familiar with Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy saying he's not really familiar with Sonata. Not sure how much of that is a work and how much of that is a shoot. Probably a little bit of both, but so I don't think Sonata is dropping the title to Jungle Boy, but I'm interested to see what Sonata can do in the ring. And then for the AEW World Championship, MJF will defend the title against Hiroshi Tanahashi. Hiroshi Tanahashi, I've heard a lot of really good things about. I'm interested to see this match, but I don't think MJF's dropping the AEW World Championship. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I honestly don't think MJF's going to drop the AEW World Championship for a while. Only because they kind of teased that MJF holding on to the title for a long time. I'm winning it and retaining it by hook or by crook. So he'll probably do the same against Tanahashi. But I'm interested to see this match. But next up is Les Suzuki guys, which is Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki. Not defending. In a six-man tag against Sting, Darby Allin, and a partner to be determined. The partner is going to be unveiled tomorrow on Rampage. It's either going to be unveiled on Rampage or on Collision, and I believe it's going to be unveiled on Rampage. But I am interested to see who the mystery partner will be. A lot of people speculate who it's going to be. Some people have speculated Goldberg, or potentially joining Sting and Darby Allin, and we'll see. Obviously, Goldberg's a free agent, no longer with WWE and everything, but we'll see who their partner is. But I imagine whoever this partner is, Sting and Darby Allin, this partner will get the win, not just to give the heels their comeuppance, but to also further the divide between Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara. Of course, Darby Allin kind of getting in Sammy Guevara's ear about how he needs to be on his own, and how he needs to really go out on his own. So he starts to see the tension between Jericho and Guevara. So Sammy Guevara potentially really going out on his own, but we'll see here. But yes, there's that. But we go from a 6-man tag to a 10-man tag as the Blackpool Combat Club, consisting of John Moxley, Wheeler Yuta, and Claudio Castagnoli, will team up with Konosuke Takeshita, who I guess is still not an official member of the Blackpool Combat Club, although I guess he's more of a satellite member because he and Don Callis have kind of aligned themselves with the BCC. He's battled Kenny Omega. But so the Blackpool Combat Club, Konosuke Takeshita and Shota Umino, who, and again, if I mispronounce any of these names, I apologize, will be battling the Elite, featuring Hangman Adam Page and the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, Eddie Kingston, and Tomohiro Ishii, in 10-man and tag team action. Kind of weird that they're gonna have a Blackpool Combat Club versus the Elite match with two of the major members. There's one from each side being involved in other matches. Is therefore why is it here? But I guess kind of an appetizer before they ultimately do like a 5-on-5 with Danielson and Omega on their respective sides. Some have teased. Some have speculated that match potentially taking place at Blood and Guts. But as for who can win here, it might go either way. But a part of me, I think, might lean towards the Blackpool Combat Club a little bit. But I wonder what the story will be, not just between Eddie Kingston and Claudio Castagnoli, but Eddie Kingston and John Moxley. So Eddie Kingston, not a fan of the Elite, doesn't like the Elite, at least in terms of kayfabe. I don't know about real life in terms of this one, but Eddie Kingston, not a fan of the Elite, doesn't like the Elite, doesn't respect the Elite, not friends with the Elite, but he hates Claudio Castagnoli, and that's kind of put him in the crosshairs of John Moxley, because John Moxley and Eddie Kingston are friends, but Claudio and Eddie Kingston are rivals, enemies. So it would be interesting to see how if they explore that dynamic, and hopefully they will for this match. But then next up is CM Punk versus Satoshi Kojima in the first round of the men's Owen Hart Cup tournament. But in all seriousness, though, apparently CM Punk versus Kenta was apparently he teased, or at least up in the air for the show, but kind of conflicting reports. There were some reports that CM Punk didn't want to do the match, but now there's reports that Kenta didn't want to do the match. So where's the truth lie? Possibly somewhere in the middle, but it does kind of suck because a lot of people have wanted CM Punk to battle Kenta. Of course, it's both men utilizing the GTS. In fact, Kenta, the innovator of the GTS, but sadly, we're not really getting that. But nevertheless, CM Punk will instead battle Satoshi Kojima in the first round of the Owen Hart Cup tournament, and I imagine it probably will go to CM Punk. The only reason being is while this is a crossover between AEW and New Japan, and obviously it's still very much sanctioned by AEW and New Japan to an extent, but it's still like an AEW pay-per-view, if you kind of get what I'm saying. And so I imagine the AEW guys will win the crucial matches like this one, and where it's something that's being featured regularly on AEW TV, unless they plan to utilize a lot of New Japan talent and for a little bit on AEW TV. But otherwise, I imagine stuff like this, and then the Owen Hart tournament hit first round on the women's side will go toward more so towards the AEW side. But yeah, so I think CM Punk, and they're probably not going to considering CM Punk just returned not too long ago, they're probably not going to hand him a loss just yet. But then next up is a 4-way match for the AEW International Championship. And that is Orange Cassidy defending the title against Zack Sabre Jr., Katsuyori Shibata, and Daniel Garcia. Orange Cassidy, what a run he has had with the International Championship. Don't think it's ending anytime soon, but this will be an interesting one to see. But yeah, I think Orange Cassidy might retain here. And kind of going back to the point I just made, hey, this is probably going to go to either Orange Cassidy or Danny Garcia. But but next up will be for the AEW Women's World Championship, as Toni Storm will be defending against Willow Nightingale. Well, of course, Willow Nightingale and Toni Storm are kind of been beefing, as of course we still are in the midst of the AEW Homegrown Original Talent versus the Outsiders storyline that they're doing. And I imagine Toni Storm, who just won it at Double or Nothing, probably not dropping it yet. And so Toni Storm, I think, is going to retain here. And then finally, in a singles match, Adam Cole, baby, will be battling against Tom Lawlor. I know I mispronounced that name. I do apologize, but interesting that both MJF and Adam Cole are going to be on the Forbidden Door card, considering they're now on an odd couple tag team partner pairing in the tag team eliminator tournament, and that they're going to do on TV. And it's something that we've seen before, the whole champion versus challenger, or two people feuding, and the whole can they coexist kind of thing. And although it was funny, not just the simultaneous shut up Tony when Tony Schiavone announced it on Dynamite, but also Adam Cole kind of getting under MJF's skin, and in order for MJF to even accept the match against Hiroshi Tanahashi, which note to self, if you ever want an AEW World Championship shot against MJF, and this is for all you AEW talent, if you want a shot with the championship, just call MJF a coward, and he will give it to you, who as Adam Cole has proven multiple times. But that's also an interesting dynamic, Adam Cole figuring out what makes MJF tick. But otherwise, this one I think could go either way. Hey, honestly, he might go towards Adam Cole just so MJF and Adam Cole can have wins on here, because they're going to be a tag team and everything. But yeah, so that is Forbidden Door, and of course I'm going to review it and everything, but so far shaping up to be a very interesting and stacked card. A couple of things I note about AEW. For starters, they love loading up the cards, and they love doing a lot of matches last minute. Because a lot of these came through this week. Some were announced on Dynamite, and are going to be followed up on both Rampage and Collision. But yeah, so granted, WWE they're no saints either. But otherwise, yeah. So let me know in the comments as to what are your predictions for AEW Forbidden Door. But next thing I want to talk about is some major news, and that is that Anthony Padilla and Ian Heckox, and I apologize if I mispronounced that, they have bought Smosh. So Anthony and Ian, the founders of Smosh, went through a long troubled history. He with Smosh, not just with the parent company that they sold Smosh to at one point, but also with each other. And the amount of stuff Smosh has gone through, who eventually being picked up by Rhett and Link and now being sold to Anthony and Ian, who have reconciled after years of kind of being apart and everything. And this was awesome to see, and it transported a lot of people back to their childhood, and that's always awesome to see. Now, admittedly, I'm not gonna pretend like I'm the biggest Smosh fan in the world, because I didn't really grow up with them. I've seen some stuff from Smosh, and the stuff I've seen is pretty entertaining, but I'm not gonna pretend like I grew up with Smosh, so this is like it is major news, but what am I trying to say? I'm not going to pretend like this has a major impact on like my childhood or anything like that, because I didn't grow up with Smosh. But seeing what these guys went through and kind of going back and reading up on the history and everything between them, and now to see them reconciling, having bought Smosh and reacquiring their channel and seeing them go back to doing sketch comedy like they used to, is pretty heartwarming and pretty awesome to see, admittedly. So congrats to Anthony and Ian. But the next thing I want to talk about is the Kraven the Hunter movie, which is going to be coming out. Apparently, the trailers have dropped. There's a regular trailer and a red band trailer, meaning this movie is going to be rated R. And I didn't even know this movie existed until like this week. But it's going to be made by Sony Pictures, and it's coming out on October 6th of 2023. So, oh boy, I just hope that the thing about how the Sony movies, he's making movies about like the villains and everything, and such as like Venom or Morbius or Kraven, is that with Spider-Man, with them not really having as much access to him, and because of Disney and everything kind of owning a lot of the rights and stuff to Spider-Man, and a lot of these movies kind of fell flat as a result. And it happened with Venom. It kind of happened with Morbius, and I hope it doesn't happen with Kraven. And I do want to see what they do with Kraven, but I'm intrigued as to why they picked Kraven and to be to make a movie out of. And I think they're setting up for a big Sinister Six movie or team up in the movies and everything, at least on the Sony side of Marvel. But it's interesting. But yeah, so Kraven the Hunter actually having a movie, he definitely came out of left field. But you know what? I'll bite. I'm kind of interested to see where it goes. But next thing I want to talk about is Nintendo Direct. So Nintendo Direct happened a couple days ago, and man, we got a lot of stuff. Now I'm not gonna go through every single thing in here, but because if I do and try to like talk about each and everything, this video is gonna be pretty dang long. This video is already gonna be pretty dang long, but it's gonna be even longer, or if I go through every single thing. But I'm gonna go through a lot of stuff that really sticks out to me, at least. So first up, we have some new DLC for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. It's called the Hidden Treasure of Area Zero. Also an expansion similar to what they did with like Pokemon Sword and Shield. Sonic Superstars was talked about. We talked about that before on the channel. In fact, I think it was last episode. So if you haven't already, go check that out. We have Persona 5 Tactica, which haven't really played Persona at all, but I heard it was pretty interesting, and it looks like this is going to be a potential spin-off, which is interesting to see. Super Mario RPG, he is getting a remake, which a lot of people were excited for, or didn't play Super Mario RPG, but a lot of people did, so I'm interested to see what they do with this remake here. Then there's Splatoon 3. I guess is getting an event and happening. Detective Pikachu, who I guess is going to be ported to Switch. And we have Princess Peach solo game, in which not the first time they've done it, but Princess Peach getting a solo game is pretty interesting. And the Batman Arkham trilogy is coming to Switch. Yes, please. Which the Arkham trilogy is of course Batman Arkham Asylum, Batman Arkham City, and Batman Arkham Knight. Now I imagine because of the size of these games, they might do what they did with like the Kingdom Hearts games, where it's cloud based, but still kind of cool that they're on there, even though cloud based has kind of hit or miss effects. But next we have Pikmin 4, which I haven't played any of the other Pikmin games, so I definitely have to. Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon is getting ported to Switch. They ported the first game. There's a third game on Switch, so I guess it was inevitable that they port Dark Moon. And Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, I actually had it for my 3DS. Never actually finished it, so I guess this is a redemption run for me. New DLC for Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope, which is the last Spark Hunter DLC. We have Super Mario Bros. Wonder, which is going to be a new 2D platform Mario game, which even has an elephant Mario, so wow. But people were wondering whether they would do another 2D platform for Mario on the Switch, and it looks like they are. And it's something where because they've done platformers on a lot of the other Nintendo consoles, starting with like the Nintendo DS, they did one for the DS, then the Wii, then the 3DS as family, and now they're doing one for Switch. Besides just New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, but the fact they're making a brand new 2D Super Mario Bros. game is pretty interesting, and hopefully it's not just a reskin of the other new Super Mario Bros. Games. It doesn't look like it's going to be already with Elephant Mario, but yeah, I'm excited. Then there's Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is getting next DLC. Then there's the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection, which is also coming to PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S, which is going to be he met a lot the old Metal Gear Solid games, which is Metal Gear Solid, Sons of Liberty, Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, and Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater. And it also comes with a bunch of stuff as well. Also some bonus content from like the NES and stuff like that. And so pretty interesting. You got WarioWare Move It, which is similar to the other WarioWare games. Anything else that really sticks out to me? And I think that's it in terms of like the stuff that really stuck out to me. A lot of major stuff and a lot of stuff I'm really excited for, especially like the Mario stuff. They really popped off with the Mario. Mario, who a lot of people felt kind of done dirty, at least a little bit on the Switch. Although not really when you consider like Super Mario Odyssey and stuff, but he's coming back. He's coming back with a vengeance. Mario ain't dropped from Nintendo just yet. But finally, the last thing I want to talk about is something that I feel like is very important, but something that I've heard people talk about sometimes, but and it's important, so I figured I'd talk about it here, and that is establishing boundaries. Boundaries are necessary. Sometimes you want to establish boundaries on things. There's some stuff that you can't let slide when it comes to you and your personality. There's stuff that's not okay. You have to draw the line in the sand, and you can't always accept everything because then people will just do whatever they want to you, and you will have no way to counter it, and there will be no consequences when people step out of line. And so establishing boundaries, saying this is not okay. Boundaries established in a friendship and a relationship, saying if XYZ happens, it's over or it's done, and that type of stuff is important so that people know where you stand and how you feel about things. And it's okay to set boundaries. I know some people are sometimes afraid to not just set boundaries and enforce boundaries in fear of being rude, but sometimes those boundaries will help out because when those boundaries are breached and nothing is done, then things can get very much worse. I don't know if that's the proper term for it, but things could get a lot worse if boundaries are set but not maintained. So if you set boundaries on things, if you say, hey, okay, this, and this is not okay. Hey, I'm not a fan of doing this, and this, and they do this, and this. There has to be consequences. There has to be consequences for breaching the boundary. If an area is restricted, if there's a restricted area in a building or something like that, and that boundary is breached by someone who's not supposed to be there, there's consequences, arrested or potentially worse. So there has to be consequences for when you establish boundaries and say, hey, okay, this I'm cool with, this I'm not cool with, and people will break those boundaries and push past those boundaries, and nothing is done. They're gonna keep doing it, and they're going to keep breaching your boundaries and keep disrespecting you. So set boundaries and be firm about your boundaries. I know you don't want to come across as rude. Some people don't care about that and go through with it. But they're your boundaries, and they were well aware of the boundaries. Now, if it's something where your boundaries haven't been established, and those boundaries that people didn't know existed are broken, then obviously have a conversation about it. But if the boundaries are explicitly stated and they're not followed, make sure there's consequences. Boundaries are there for a reason, and that is to know what's okay and what's not okay. And when those are broken, that's when you gotta put the hammer down, put your foot down, and say, hey, nope, this is not okay. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this episode. I know, again, kind of a long one, but I hope you enjoy it nevertheless. If you did, please do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload a video so you can see as soon as it drops. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on anything I talked about in this video at all, because we talked about quite a bit, and I will see you guys later. Peace.